minute. I bet I brought this nigga like the Miami Dolphins did, Ricky Williams. They told they want their motherfucking money back. I bet I brought this nigga like what, man? Like CP. Like CP did Mo. I bet I brought this nigga like Tone. We the Hooters. When he bought CP. That's funny.
About ready?
Looks like it's not lagging on my side now.
Yeah, it looks like you're not lagging.
Get the new chat up on the screen.
I think I'm blurred, but I don't know. All right, guys, you can go and buy that. Yeah, I know y'all seen it. I'm fucking this pizza up. This pizza had no chance. You swear that the owner of WWE came out. This pizza has no chance. Yo.
All right, there we go. Let me pop this chat up so I can see what you guys are saying, and I can close this and should not have a problem. All right, I think we're good now. Can you hear me, Tommy?
I hear you perfectly. Sorry to be eating in your ear, but
no, that's all right, man. So I have to apologize to you guys if you guys are wondering what happened. Well, I think it was just a technical issue, but I think we're good now because I mean I'm not lagging at all now. It's not even close to lagging. But like I say, the more we do this, I think it'll get a little bit better. And I want to say thank you for all the people that are listening right now. Thank you so much for being patient. Again, shout out to my brother Tommy Sotomayor for taking a moment to sit and talk with us. There was something that kind of came across my mind with regard to a lot of the things that have been going on. You know, I want to give a shout out to Michi and to Relationship Rehab and all the other people a part of the Voltron Network. If you guys have not subscribed to the Voltron Network, please make sure you do so. Make sure you type in the Voltron Network, come over and subscribe to this channel, throw a thumbs up and all of that good stuff. Because what we're going to do here is we're going to be here on a consistent basis on this channel, and you're going to see a diverse group of people coming on here. We're going to talk about some things, and one of the subjects that I've been talking about, and I know you've been talking about the past couple of days, unfortunately, is the passing of Nipsey Hussle. And it really kind of bothered me because, you know, I'm definitely a fan of his music. The Crenshaw mixtape was one of my favorite mixtapes. H-Town was one of my favorite songs on there, and I know that he won a Grammy for the Marathon mixtape, or not the mixtape, but the Marathon album, which I thought was pretty good. It had definitely some songs on there that you could tell like he really, really put his heart and soul into that album. You know what I'm saying? And I can respect
one Grammy. I didn't know that.
Either he was nominated or won, but I've read it two different ways, like from some actual websites. So I'm not actually.
Right, it's kind of like slash Beyonce. Like some of them call him his wife, some of them call his fiance. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe you guys can look that up and let me know which one it is. But so I'll at least give him credit to say that he was nominated. Great album. But this is the thing, and I was telling people on the live the other day, because the subject that we have today is it time to call out the culture? And the reason that that we came up with this topic together is because of the fact that I reflect a lot of times about the things that are going on, where we put the blame. Are we being responsible enough to say this is something we can fix? Because in my opinion, I always feel like we're looking out to other people to try to fix things that we can fix ourselves. How do you feel about that, Tommy?
Oh, the same thing. And they were saying that I look blurry. I don't know if that's something you could fix. They say I look like I got rest and glitch face. But but yeah, look at it as if you know, my mission has been from day one. It is time to call this stuff out. It has gotten too far. And if I saw it back in 2009 and I had seen it before then, it's just in 2009, it was time to just say, you know, let me stick myself out there in the forefront and call it out. And then you turn around and you see what's going on now. it's way past time. And somebody wrote in the comment section, they said Nipsey baby mama is his baby mama, and he didn't put a ring on her finger. I know I saw that last, but they said Nipsey Hussle was not some angel. Let's get it straight.
Right, and
he was a street dude.
That's right, and that's part of what I wanted to touch on, because I didn't want to upset people, especially when you got 4,000 people watching your damn stream. I'm not trying to say too much to really ruffle no feathers, you know what I'm saying? But this is something I actually thought about. That's a real question. And the thing that what I want people to understand, what we do here is we're going to look at things through a microscope, and we're going to really, really nitpick things, because that's what makes us different. Our perspective is different. And the thing that I was thinking about was, because I said one thing. I said that once you join gang culture, you never really get away from it. So once you make that choice, when they say you in for life and all of that kind of stuff, especially people out there in California should understand that. Anybody who understands gang culture on the West Coast should understand the fact that once you join gangs, there is only one way out. And that's usually by way of death. That's unfortunate. Yeah, you got it.
What they say, do you get jumped in, you get carried out?
Straight up. Straight up and down. Like I said, this is something I'm very familiar with, because people might not think that Oklahoma would have been big for gangs, but it actually was. So this is stuff that I know. I mean, I've learned about it all through school, seen it, you know what I'm saying, been around it most of my life. But I can say this. When it comes to being an adult, and when it comes to coming into your own, you know, through your teenage years and stuff like that, the things that you do set in motion how the rest of your life is going to take place. So once you start joining gangs and stuff like that, would it be wrong to say that he kind of made his bed and he laid in it? He got exactly what he asked for. Am I?
Which is a hard thing to say to people, though, because when you say it, people get upset. People get upset when you, let's just call it what it is, when you tell the truth. The truth of the matter is the individual or individuals, however you want to look at it, had an opportunity to better themselves, but because of what they did earlier in their life, could he really get past it? Like, think about it. He might have at this point wanted to be a family man, a married man, but he's trying to walk between the raindrops, between the family man, the married man, the businessman, the music man, and the thug man.
Yep.
Because you can't really get rid of the thug man. And then they keep on convincing these Negroes, and it's just my issue. They keep trying to convince us that, well, the best thing for you to do is to, when you get somewhere, you bring the people with you. You bring the people with you. It's like, no, you don't bring those people with you. You go and get as far away from those people as you can. You run. Now, here's the difference. I'm 43. He 33. He 33 and he on the court side. He 33. He got a fine bitch. I ain't got none of that. He 33. He got a lot of money on hand. I ain't got none of that. Y'all got to make these dice roll. Y'all got to make these things all you can before I can do any of that. So I don't have this. So I can't talk about what he's doing as far as he shouldn't have done it. But what I can do, and what you can do, and what all of us can do, is to really, really try to convince these young people that this ends bad.
And I think that this should serve as an example, especially to those young folks that say that he was a role model and this and that. So that would have to stand as a lesson to say, kids, this is why you don't want to join these gangs. But it's crazy because it's so prevalent in California. It's damn near like it's so normal. You know what I'm saying? It's like they write documentaries and they do movies and stuff about the culture that they grew up in and live in. It's damn near like expected. And I thought it was crazy because I was watching your videos when that fool was like in the news camera back there throwing up the gang signs and all this and that on the set. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't get it. I said, is this fool really throwing up gang signs when it was a gang killing? Now, and he was smiling, he was cheesing like he was Chester. He just got him a whole big old bag of them motherfucking Cheetos. But the point is, if you think about it, we gotta admit the part that caused the problem. You know, and that's why I gave the example. Remember, I gave this, I don't know if he was watching, but I gave this example before I even knew what happened. I gave the example of Darren Williams. I gave the example of what they did in Denver and how they ended up. You know, you think ain't no thugs in Denver, like how you said in OKC. Niggas come to your town, think ain't no thugs there, and then they get their wake-up call. They thought it was no thugs in Denver, and they got their wake-up call. Now, I'm not trying to sit up here and say those dudes are the shooters are good guys, because they just shot up a whole limousine and didn't care who they shot.
Right.
They shot a girl, good thing she survived. But they ended up killing a young man, Darren Williams. And he's from out there in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. But they ended up taking this man's life all because of his words that he spoke. And if you look at what happened with what they're saying happened to Nipsey Hussle, he slapped the man, called the man a snitch, and then called him a snitch in front of all his gang members and all of the street niggas. You know, from being anywhere near the street, you get called a snitch by a big name person in the streets, they coming to get you.
It almost reminds me, because you know I'm not a big movie buff person or really like that great with pop culture, but I can make a perfect reference. Is that not similar to the Scarlet Letter?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. When he did that, listen, Nipsey should have known he sentenced that man to death when he did that.
Mm-hmm.
He ruined that man's life. And if that's where he lives, if that's his street, if that's his hood, if all of that stuff, where's he going to go after you ruined his life? He's like, where's he going to go?
Can't go anywhere. And then if you think about it, if he's already a struggling rapper, which is something that I called out that most people didn't even know, the fact that his rap name is like Fly Mac or something like that. And I found 2 SoundCloud links. I didn't click on them because I ain't trying to get hit for no copyright for no whack ass song. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it got to at least be a good song if you're going to get flagged. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, this actually made more sense because what the news media was trying to put out, they were trying to say that this is gang violence and gang culture and gang and this and that and such and such. That plays an element. But that doesn't necessarily mean just because they're in California, just because they sporting certain colors or throwing up certain, you know, finger patterns or anything like that doesn't necessarily make this a gang killing. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the fact, from what I understood, is that he was an upcoming rapper. I found proof of the fact that he was an upcoming rapper. The fact that Nipsey Hussle is considered to be a top tier rapper, the fact that you are nearby this guy and you turn around and you're trying to get on with this guy and this guy like, nah, I can't mess with you like that. And he tells him off. Like, from what I understand, that he was mainly upset because Nipsey Hussle would not sign him, which actually makes sense. Because if you think about it, with all of the, like, how many times have you heard about these dudes having shootouts at the studio? A lot. Matter of fact, even like
I went when I was young. I don't go anymore. But go ahead.
Oh, even like with Bankroll Fresh, that's the one that I remember the most because that's the one that really sticks out in my mind. Even though we could probably name about 200 other ones, like you did the show the other day when people were like, when you were telling the people name all of the rappers, just the rappers that have been murdered. And I remember hearing that story about Bankroll Fresh because I didn't really know anything about it. But you hear about No Plug, and then you hear about 21 Savage, and then you hear about Bankroll, and they got into it something with the studio, blah blah blah, and then come to find out, No Plug does no jail time because he said it was self-defense, and it's just kind of like, damn, it's funny how their positions flip-flop. Now Bankroll Fresh is dead to the motherfucker. Now who's on top? No Plug's homeboy, the dudes that was trying to get to where he was. So imagine that. What if this dude got away and somehow was able to claim some self-defense or anything like that? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, everybody would have been drawn to his name. It also reminds me of the case of XXXTentacion whenever everybody was trying to blame that one dude. What's his, god dang it, what is his name? Let me see.
I knew they were trying to say it was him.
Soulja Kid. And the only reason I remember, because I have to remember certain things to remember certain names because I'm real bad with my memory. Soulja Kid, the reason why I remember is because he did a song that had a beat that I thought was dope, but his rap sucks. And I said, damn, I really want that beat. But that's how I remember his name. And the thing is because people suspected him that he was the suspect for killing XXXTentacion, which come to find out that it was 4 other niggas. He ended up blowing up as far as getting views. Like, he got millions of views on his video just because he was accused of murdering XXX.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people talk about the Illuminati and all of this bullcrap and sacrificing and all of that stuff. I don't necessarily believe in that, so to say, but I do think it's weird how it's always attached to blood whenever these brothers are literally stepping over dead bodies to get to where they at. What you think about that?
Well, I want to talk to you about that and more. We talk about the whole death culture that's going on in the music. And I said, you don't find other music genres that are going through this. Did you know there was an actor who got shot while filming a rap music video in Australia? Same damn crap.
Oh, wow.
He was shot, announced dead on the scene. His name was Ofner. He was down there shooting a rap video. Johann Offner. He was shot in a rap video in fucking Australia. Wow. You got to sit back and think about the fact that we as black people are willing to do crap like this to each other. And I didn't even know they had Bankroll Fresh's murder on
surveillance.
They said a video of it.
Yes, I saw it. It was, bro, it was like watching a fucking movie. Excuse my language. I don't know if we can cuss on here or not, but
yeah, we can.
But it was like watching a movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching something you've already seen before. You almost become desensitized to it. The fact that this is so common, almost kind of like. Say that again.
Did they set him up?
No. What it was apparently there was a dispute. There was an argument between the two, and from what we heard, Bankroll Fresh and his crew was about to leave the studio because No Plug and his people and 21 Savage and them was getting ready to go record. And I guess he had left his phone or something in there. So he came back to come get his phone. And there was a confrontation out, at the front steps. From what I understand, Bankroll Fresh was the one that pulled the gun first and shot first. They returned fire and killed him.
Oh, damn.
I mean, it was sick, man. It was sick because supposedly they was supposed to all been cool at one point until they went on DJ Culture Vulture's little interview thing or whatever, and went on there and did their interview. And I remember watching No Plug, and I mean, he was laid out on the couch and just, yeah, man, you know, that's what happened, and yeah, we was cool. And man, they talk about it like it ain't shit.
So he went on DJ Culture Vultures and talked about how he killed Bankroll Fresh.
Yep. No Plug did it. Man, I don't remember how many views that interview got, but it got a lot. It got a lot. And I mean, I just could. It was sickening to watch it, and it almost seemed like he didn't care. It wasn't that he was reveling in it or anything. He was just saying, nah, man, of course I didn't get caught. You know, it was self-defense. But I'm just like, man, if that was supposed to be your guy, like, I just don't understand how you could desensitize yourself to your emotions. If we were friends, if we were buddies, like how were you really friends? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you really even give a shit about a person? Because even if you had to defend yourself against that person, it still has to affect you emotionally in some way. And it didn't seem like he gave a crap to me.
Them dudes pulling out. I'm watching the pieces of the clip, and I guess I still won't get to see it. But I'm watching them all come out, ducking behind cars and just shooting. And I'm seeing like they just firing at the car, but I don't see where Bankroll Fresh got shot. There they go, dragging him out. But I didn't see him get shot, so I guess they don't technically show him get shot.
But No Plug admitted to it in court.
You know what's crazy? It looked like a bullet hit off the ground and hit the door.
Might have been something like that.
And then you see them pulling him out of the studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Straight
but
up.
They don't show it, though. Man, and they came back still busting. Wow. But they don't show it. I don't see it. Maybe it's somewhere else. But man, that's crazy. And the fact that he got off because because Bankroll Fresh shot at him first.
Isn't that crazy? And what's funny about that is Bankroll Fresh, I'm not going to say he was like on a level of a Nipsey Hussle or anything like that, but he had some songs that was popping. He was literally what we call like on the bubble up. He was on his way. Like most of the stuff that we was playing in the clubs, because, you know, I still occasionally would DJ in the strip club from time to time, and a lot of his music was in circulation. A lot of it was. Yep, cut him down right at his bubble up, right at his peak. Cut him down, man. And they just moved on. Think about this. Like nobody even talks about him anymore, but they celebrate the hell out of 21 Savage, who was No Plug's homie. Celebrate the true. So I mean, you think about it, like, I mean, they talk about his relationships with Amber Rose and his music, and he collaborating with Future. Man, they just walk past that like there's just no remnants, no memories of it at all. It's just sad. And so this is what I say about that when it comes back to, because I want to relate everything right back to our initial question. And again, if you guys are watching the show while we have people over here at the Voltron Network as well as Tommy Sotomayor live, please do us a favor and hit the thumbs up. It'll share the stream and let everybody know that we are live. We're trying to build this channel. We are trying to talk about some things that matter, right? So is it time to call out thug culture in a situation?
Well, let me ask you this. Chicken or the egg argument. And if you're watching over on Tommy Sotomayor Live, make sure you click the link in the description box and come on over here to the Voltron Network. But let me ask, chicken or the egg? Is it the violent music that creates the violent people, or is it the violent people that are creating violent music? So you shouldn't be surprised because the people are violent. They're just creating music that reflects their lives.
I think,
or is it the other way around? The people have become more violent based upon the fact that the music became more violent.
I think that people are speaking on the violence that they see every day. Like I said, I mean, you look at a place just like Oklahoma City, and I'm gonna just tell it straight up and down, especially in the early to mid 2000s, because I was heavily in the club. I don't know what it is about me, but I like hood spots. I like hood things. I like hood chicks. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I just like these brushes with danger. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is if you're talking about rapping and stuff like that, it seems that the rappers are just talking about what actually either happens or what they've seen. But I definitely don't think that the music is any worse than what's actually happening. If anything, it's probably the other way around. Like, it's not nearly, the music isn't nearly as bad as what niggas is actually out doing. Does that make sense?
So you think that all this thug ass music is just scratching the surface of what's going on below?
What do you guys think in the chat? Yeah. I think so.
Now I see some people in the comment section say they believe it's a little bit of both, and I'm one of those too. I believe they're feeding off of each other now.
Yes.
It's just this. It's centrifugal force, and it's just going. Somebody said they learned from my man Michael 12X said they learned from the mafia movies and Scarface, etc. I actually think it's more fake dudes out here rapping than it is real dudes out here rapping.
Agreed.
Just to be real, I think that a lot of these dudes are just repeating what they've already heard. Because it's easy if you listen to rap and you like gangster rap, and you're a rapper like how I am. It's easy to imitate what you heard. It's easy to repeat what you heard.
Agreed.
And you don't have to live it. I think the thing is the brothers who don't live it tend to not get caught up in these situations. They rap and they go home. I think it's the brothers who actually live it. They get caught up in it, or the ones that are trying to live it get caught up in it. Because think about how many rappers you see that just make it. And they stay there.
Right.
I think they know to leave this shit.
I think it's a very big mixture of both, because just like you'll have somebody like your Slim Jesus, you'll have somebody also like your oh Lord, what's his name? It's Jay McLovin's favorite artist. What is his name? The dude that sings. He's out of California too. Oh my God, what is his name? He's got long hair. I can't remember his freaking name. Let me see. God, I can't remember this dude's
I
name.
see if somebody will write it. They're saying Gucci, but I don't think that's who it is.
No. Ty Dolla $ign.
Okay.
For every Slim Jesus that's faking and admits that he's faking, or you find out that he's faking and not really about that life, you'll have a Ty Dolla $ign. And do you know how popping that dude was? That dude was literally on a featured song in a featured movie whenever what's the name of that movie? Suicide Squad? Did you watch Suicide Squad?
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I seen it.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I watched it for the first time like less than 2 weeks ago. But I had the music as soon as it came out because I'm a DJ. I get every bit of music. The soundtrack is amazing. The movie sucked. But the reason I bring that up, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you like this, Tommy, and note, all jokes aside, the video that they did, Sucker for, I don't know if it was called Sucker for Pain. I'm just a sucker for pain. I don't remember how it goes, but he was in there with Imagine Dragons, Ty Dolla $ign, Wiz Khalifa, and I forget the little Logic, the white boy. Okay? Yes, Sucker for Pain. Thank you guys. That video, just the music video, was better than that whole freaking movie. And the reason I bring that up is because of the fact that not only did he already have a lot of notoriety before then, he was featured on everybody's stuff because not only can he rap, but he can sing. The reason why I'm telling you guys all of this stuff is because of the fact that, do you know that he recently just got locked up for having drugs in his trunk? And he's facing yards of years. He's facing a bunch of years. I don't even know how many years that dude is facing. He's facing like 10 to 20 years in jail at the peak of his career. So you have to ask yourself, this nigga cannot be broke. So why are we like hauling around keys like we on the grind? It's a weird thing.
Well, I know. I don't know if you remember Nate Newton. He was shipping 300 pounds of weed, which is silly now because he should be out on the street because at least he was just moving weed, and a lot of weed is legal all over the place. And he let I don't think Nate Newton did no real time, but he had like 300. They caught him with 300 pounds of weed.
Wow.
He then got out on probation. Now Nate Newton, I don't know if you know who he is. He's a Hall of Fame left guard or tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. So he made a shit ton of money we played.
Never heard of him.
Flip it. And then while he was out on probation, they caught him with 280 pounds. So he still did it.
Wow.
And then what is the dude named Hurd? Sam Hurd. Y'all guys might know him. Dallas Cowboy. He went up to Chicago. Guess what they caught him with? It turned into a big time cocaine dealer while playing for the Bears.
I don't know. And I guess the reason I bring that up and no, I've never even heard of those stories. So that's my first time hearing it. And I know it was people saying that was their first time hearing about, they didn't know that Ty Dolla $ign had even got arrested like that. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things like where, like you remember in Chicago when they put those bait trucks out there, like whose fault is that? The fact that niggas steal, or because they were trying to set you up to get you into doing something that you already know is wrong. And this whole thing, and like I say, I don't mean no disrespect to the sister at all, but I do listen to Michi X, not only because of you, but because I subscribe to her channel. I listen to her, but I think I treat her.
We love each other on the Voltron. Hold on, speak your piece. We love each other on the Voltron network. As a matter of fact, I think we should do like a weekly or monthly roundtable where we just have the personalities get together. And one thing I want us to do is to be respectful towards each other. But if you hear somebody on their show say something that you don't agree with, say it. Listen, we are the voices of logic, truth, and reason over nonsense. And if you hear some nonsense, if I say it, I think it'll be fun if you set up a show and be like, Tommy says some, I like Tommy, but he said some fuck shit on this show. Let's address it.
But I'll say this, like, because I know a lot of times that she speaks from the white and black perspective, and I know that her base, her main base is the pro-black rhetoric. And there's a lot of times when I hear that, and I'm like, okay, I want to hear some things and see what she says, and does this make sense? How can I rationalize what it is that she's saying? Well, in some of these cases, I hear her say you know, well, you know, the white man has this system and this and that and such, and a lot of times I catch myself thinking, and I'm just like how much of it? Because I actually did a show a long time ago. We actually did a panel about this. Does white supremacy actually exist? And I challenged the people and I told them, I don't believe it does. Because for the majority of us, you can talk about the microcosm, right? We can always look at these individual incidents. We can look at this person. We can look at this person. We can look at this person. And we can turn around and make it seem like this is a much larger problem going on. But when you think about it, the masses aren't actually affected by this at all. Because if you look at it, I have to say to myself, what is it that's preventing me from getting to where it is that I need to be? Is it my own bad choices? Or is it the fact that I'm in this bad system? And in my opinion, it's my choices. And what we try to teach here is we try to teach accountability. And that's one thing, that's why I love having a father. My dad never let me have an excuse for anything. You feel where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. My father never let me, and I used to think to myself, I'm like, damn, Dad, it ain't always my fault. But I understand now, especially being a father, now that my daughter's kind of getting up in age, because she's 11 and she'll be 12 this year. And I realized the fact that what he was trying to teach me was take control of your own destiny. And that's the message that I try to preach, because I don't see anything wrong with that, because I see that you can get pretty far with that. If you just take your destiny and just put it in your own hands.
Listen, I don't like the excuse of they doing this to me. They doing this to me. And I feel you on that idea of is this white supremacy? Like, white supremacy exists, but at the end of the day, like, the sun is hot, but I mean, is it cooking us like it cooks the surface? No, it warms us, but it's not cooking us. And the farther you go away from it, the less it affects you. See it, but you rarely feel it. And you go to planet, you go certain far away, you barely can see it, and you definitely can't feel it. Mm-hmm. So I think white supremacy may be one of those things that's kind of like the sun. The farther you get away from it, it still may exist, but does it really affect you like that? I think white supremacy is more of an idea now and more of a boogeyman than an actual thing. Mm-hmm. So that's why you don't hear me sit here and talking about white supremacy, because if it does affect us, then I'd love for someone to talk about how it does affect us and how it affects them. Mm-hmm. If you have a job and you're working for white people, if you live in a neighborhood with white people, if you go grocery shopping with white people, if you got white people changing your oil and your brakes, then what the fuck is white supremacy at that point? I would have to get this person to say, even if white supremacy exists, how is it controlling your life or messing with you negatively? So I guess that's how I view it. So I'm with you on that, because you got to tell me. No, excuse me. I'm from Missouri. You got to kind of show me this white supremacy and how it's affecting you and others. And if not, you got a problem.
Mm-hmm. And that's all I'm basically talking about. And I think that we can actually become more empowered the less excuses that we're given. Because if I look at my life and I look at every bad decision that I've been in, or every little bit of trouble that I've been in, I could always point the finger at something else in that equation. I could say, well, it was because of this, or it was because the cop was sitting over there and he just so happened to raise his radar gun when I was going by, or it just so happened that if this lady wasn't standing over here watching me stick this thing in my pocket, you know what I'm saying? We could always look at it and say or this person followed me around the store. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things, or these people were spying on. I was talking to somebody about this, about the neighbors telling on them about either not cutting their yards, or maybe they got stuff in their yard they're not supposed to have, or whatever the case is. Or we could look at it and just say, we could look at it and say, the things that happened, that transpired, could we have done something different to make a different outcome? And if so, then why isn't the power in our hands?
I agree with you. And there's somebody in the comment section, I would love to be able to get your opinion on it. They said, well, what about hiring practices? They tend to pick white sounding names than black. What do you think about that?
Well, coming from, the fact that I've not only worked a lot of mainly blue collar jobs, but I actually have worked white collar jobs. I've actually had to hire people and all of that stuff. And I'll say this, when people own something, when they run something, they have the right to run it however they want to. And it makes sense that they will probably hire something that they feel like they're familiar with. Because one thing that if anybody has been in a relationship and they've dealt with women, one thing that women like when it comes to dealing with men is they like familiarity. I'm sure I didn't pronounce it totally right because, I get a little tongue tied. Familiarity, whatever it is, right? And I always used to think it was a weird thing, like when a woman would go right back to her ex that treated her like shit. I'm like, why is she going back? And it took me a while to realize that women generally will go right back to some bullshit because they know the bullshit that they're going to get. They know exactly what they're going to get. They're not going to get any more. They're not going to get any less. They're going to get this. They don't like surprises. That's why they won't deal with a new guy, because of the fact that they're just like, well, I don't know what I'm going to get from him, so I just don't want it at all. So when it comes to hiring practices, white people, because they run those companies, because they're in those positions and they're in power, they're going to hire what they feel like is going to work. And they can generally base that off of, one, the model for success, which is generally going to be people that look just like them if they're financially on top and if they're the CEOs of all of these companies and stuff. So they already have the model for success. And number two, the fact that they feel like they can, it's like they will care more, almost kind of like how when people talk about, well, that white guy, had the gun and aimed it at the police and the police didn't shoot that guy. Well, yeah, because he sees that as his brother. He sees that as his uncle. He sees that as his cousin. He don't see that as an animal. He doesn't see it the same way. So you can't expect for those people to treat those things and lie to their own sensibilities and say that, no, I don't see what I see. And that's like what we continue to keep asking them to do. Act like you don't see what you see. Act like you don't see us acting a fool. Act like you don't see us killing ourselves and disrespecting ourselves more than anybody else on earth does.
Well, I want to say this about the question. I agree with you 100%. And I want to ask them something. You said white sounding names. Last I checked, we're in America, number one. Mm-hmm. Last I checked, you guys believe that you were brought here through slavery, not no other way, just slavery. Last I checked, they named you white sounding names, if you want to call it that. So then at that point, it became American names. So as slaves, you were given American names. One day you decided, with my freedom, I'm going to just make up names now so they can be black sounding names. You did this purposefully in a country that didn't exist, didn't have this thing that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Now, every other culture knows the Chinese people, when they come over here, when they name their kids, they name them Charlie, they name them Michael, they name them whatever. They don't go with this white sounding name. They go with, you're in America and you want an American name. It's the equivalent of if you want to go and join the Bloods or the Crips. You're going to try to come up with a name that makes sense as a Blood. You wouldn't make a name that sounds like you are a Crip. Facts. If you were a Pyru and you were a Blood, you wouldn't call yourself Shitty Cuz.
I was wondering if you was going to catch that.
You wouldn't call yourself Shitty Cuz. Because if you call yourself Shitty Cuz, it's going to be hard for people to want to be cool with you in the Pyru set. I'm just telling you. Right. So when we say stupid things like, well, that's a white sounding name, do you understand that the so-called black name you have is a culmination and an amalgamation of those white names? You just decided to throw some more letters on them and call that black? Well, that's ridiculous. That's like saying I'm designing a new brand of clothes by going to get some Gucci clothes and tearing the sleeve off and tearing the other sleeve down, cutting a couple holes in it, and then calling it Tommy Gucci and saying it's the new clothes. Well, no, it isn't. You've messed up clothes that already exist. The majority of them names that you see that are black names, guess what they are? Messed up versions of the original. Mm-hmm. Bam. Well, don't call it white sounding names, because if I'm trying to hire you, if I know you came from a somebody said Crip Pyru Cuz. You know what I'm saying? But if I know you come from an environment where somebody's dumb enough to rip the sleeve off Gucci, you think I'm gonna want you to come in and then you're gonna claim it as original? You think I'm gonna want you to come and design clothes for me? You're a ripoff artist. I don't want that. As a black person, when you go in and take their names and black them up, You're a rip-off artist, and you put a target on your own head.
I think that it's amazing the fact that we as quote unquote black people continue to keep creating shit and want everybody else to treat it like treasure. It's weird, man. It's very weird. Yeah. It's like why would we rather be the nail that stands out as opposed to blending in? Like, what's wrong with blending in? If we're supposed to be American, I mean, and I think even like this whole pro-black bull crap is even crazier, because how many times have we talked about the fact that Africans don't actually claim us? But we claim the hell out of everybody else that don't want us. And that's part of what I'm talking about. Our focus is all in the wrong directions. Whenever you're talking about, well, white supremacy is the reason why we are here. No, we could look at it and say, what can you do today to become a better person today? What decisions can you make today in order to make your life better going forward? There's always something more that you can do. Something like because this one thing I love about the movie The Matrix is, like I said, I'm not a big movie buff or anything like that, but there are some movies that stick in my mind, like with The Matrix. And they always say that the problem is choice, not the system that you are in. The problem is choice, because every day that you live, you have an opportunity to make a choice to either go left or right, to push or pull, to stop or go, every single day.
Somebody made a great point. He said black names like Tyrone, Tyreek, and Andre are not made up by blacks. Okay, well, and I got to say something to you. That's the case, then why is it that blacks make fun of the name Jerome, even though that name is French? They make fun of that name. Mm-hmm. Blacks make fun of the name Tyrone and accept that if you see a Tyrone, it's a black person, and that again is another French name. I feel what you're saying, but I think the problem is when too many black people name something, and you start to see it, what happens is you start to relate it to it, and the other side doesn't want it. I guess it's like when too many black folks move in a white neighborhood and then they have white flight, they just leave. So that white neighborhood, that white city, Stone Mountain in Georgia, if you think about it, used to be white, but when the whites left, it's black, and nobody wants to come back to that place. It was originally white, but then the people left. So when you have names like this and black people make fun of it, just like we make fun of a name like Jethro, wouldn't we think that's a redneck if you heard that name?
Yep. Straight up.
There's several names in which we hear Sally Mae. People don't name their kids that shit no more because, you Sally Mae, you eat steak with your gums. You are outside on the porch making some ice cream like this with that little thing and that rock ice on the side of it. Like you doing that. Now, names have a culture sometimes attached to them. And somebody said integrate or blend into what? You got to blend in at least some. My thing is, I talk about my daughter like this a lot. I gave her that name specifically because when she puts her name on a resume,
it's ambiguous.
When she puts Alex, they don't know if she's a boy, a girl, or white. They don't know. They see Alex and they probably think it's a white male. And then when she comes in, they have to at least finish the interview. Sure. And that's her opportunity to kill it. How many of you guys got an opportunity to talk to a girl that otherwise, if you had never talked to her, if she had just seen your profile, she would have never given you a chance? But because you were able to sit there at the bar and talk to her, you ended up dating a woman you would have never gotten a chance to date before if it was just based off looks. And that's because you got an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with her. And I can tell y'all 100%, the majority of girls I've dated, it's simply because I got to talk to them. Because if it just went off looks, I wouldn't have a shot.
Yeah.
So give yourself a shot. Give your children a shot. Why do we want to fight that? If you're going to fight it by owning your own businesses so you don't have to ask white people to give you a job. It's not white supremacy that white people won't give you a job when they own the business, when you can go get a business and own it yourself. So if you think white people are not giving you jobs because your name is onomatopoeia or whatever the fuck you want to name your kid, if that's the case, then what you should do is go out and own businesses and only hire people with those fucked up names. Why don't we have some black folks doing that? Dead ass. There's enough rich black folks out here right now. Name that company that only hires people with the fucked up hood rat name.
They don't. They don't. And see, and this is why I want to piggyback off of what you just said. What exactly are we gaining with all of this extra uniqueness in the names? Where's the gain at? I'm always looking at the positives and the negatives. Like if we're not gaining something from something that we're doing, then it's probably something that we probably should not be doing.
Amen.
So we're getting people that cannot pronounce our names. We're getting people that automatically know who we are. And if you're talking about, living in a world where maybe they would prefer to hire somebody that comes from their lineage as opposed to someone who comes from, what we deem as the black lineage, then we're automatically setting ourselves out to the side and saying, well, that nigga black with that name. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, I think it's the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know if you remember this story. I think you might have done this story, but there was an expose done on this mother. And yes, she was a black single mother. And she named her daughter, I think she had 36 letters in her first name or something like that.
Down, which I don't know how that happened.
And then I asked the question, the vital question, what does that baby have to gain by you naming her something so effed up like that?
Nothing. And that's why people who name their kids like that typically are these single mothers who just want credit and these are the same people who will twerk on Instagram, get 100,000 followers and still be broke. They don't care. It's all about the shock value. I'm not trying to be funny. The majority of black women do shit for the shock value. That's why when they get on the train, they'll have their phone on speaker and be talking loud into it. And if you say anything, then they'll cuss you out. This motherfucker want to tell me to be quiet. And you're like, well, come on now. I mean, really, this isn't the place. But they do the majority. They wear stuff. When you look at them, went to that dude's memorial yesterday. Look at how many women were in skin tight, revealing clothes. And you thought to yourself, why are they dressed like that though? Mm-hmm. That's not necessary, especially this is not the time or the place. I think it's just the situation where if you're not going to tell me how this is benefiting you, but you're going to keep doing it, something's wrong. I
agree. And you know what? And the fact that you just brought that up made me think about this, because I did this story on this lady and man, people was pissed. Whenever I did a story on this lady that her daughter was in 5th grade, dark-skinned girl. And of course she took a picture with a hand on her hip. I can say it now because like I say, I'm not attached to that story at the moment. But you could tell this was a hood girl, and you could tell that she went to a hood ass school. I even did the research and found out that this school, out of a possible 100% score, this school ranked 26 out of a possible 100. But these kids are going to this school, and it's just like,
That's the little girl that ended up getting into a fight
and got killed.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Can you tell me, because I don't know the story and I didn't do it. Can you tell me what happened? How did she die? What was done to cause her death?
Okay, they didn't actually say, because they're holding on to some of the details because of the age of the kids, and the problem with that is the legalities. So there's a lot of information they haven't put out there. They haven't put out the other girl's identity, and we come to find out that the girl that beat her up is actually failed the 5th grade twice.
So she's
yes. So she was 2 years older.
And then that means this other girl was about 12, 13.
Yep. And that's also going to make a difference, because the difference between her not being sent to the juvenile detention center and the little pity pat stuff that they got, I can't remember what it is her age. And I think that if she's already of age, if she's 13 or older, then she'd have to go to juvie. So that's another part of it. And that's not even the crazy thing. That's not even the most polarizing part about the story. The thing that I caught a hold of that everybody is still lighting my ass up on my channel about is me bitching about the GoFundMe. Oh man, I let them have it about that GoFundMe, because one thing that I do is before I do a story, I tend to try to pull as much information as possible. And sometimes I go a little too far with how much information I have, but I just want to make sure that it's a very informed story. Come to find out, the original GoFundMe started and asked for $2,000. Keep in mind, this is in less than 48 hours of her daughter dying, okay? Already got a GoFundMe up. Okay, fine, cool, $2,000. We have screenshot proof the fact that GoFundMe went from $2,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000, which is by the time when we did the story, that was my original screenshot, but I didn't even know about the rest of that stuff until we got later into the story. Then the updated version was at $45,000, but there was $47,000 that had been contributed, so they met that goal. So every time they met the goal, they just raised the goal.
And that's what asked me, well, why didn't you say something about that white girl who jumped in the Uber? They said, why didn't you say something about her family started a GoFundMe? Yes, they started one for $5. That was the first thing I noticed. And I said it in the video, I said, they have $70,000 right now. They started a GoFundMe for $5,000.
That's right.
$5,000.
Right.
It's up to 70,000. And guess what the GoFundMe still says that they set it up for? $5,000. They didn't change the number because the number was met. You changed the number to fool people into believing you didn't get what you needed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There is no reason to do that with your child's death. Just let people donate if they want to.
So you said and because I was actually wondering what you might have thought about that. Because like I said, I know you haven't looked into the story, and I hate to just give you details and you not really be able to fully look into it. But you got the gist of it, and that was my point. It's the fact that she literally could have left it at the 2,000. She could have left it at the 10,000. But this is also a problem when it comes to, right, because I'm going to bring this full circle again. Is it time to call out the thug culture and the bad culture in the black community? Because they live in a very poor community. Their schools are shitty. Their teachers are horrible. The principal sucks. So I look at this as her trying to create a come up to get up out the hood and all of that kind of stuff. But this is the thing. You don't fix it.
I'm going to call you a liar on that one. This is not a come up to get out of the hood. This is a come up to look good in the hood. These people don't move out of the hood when they get that money. Did Tyshawn Lee's mama leave?
Oh, no, she did not. She went and bought a damn car.
You give a motherfucker in the hood some money, they going to want to flex and floss that money around the other niggas in the hood. Tell me I ain't lying, because let me just be real.
That's right.
Even when it came down to Nipsey Hussle, he should have put that damn all those stores and things in a better neighborhood, told the people from the old neighborhood, if you like a job, you're going to have to get on the bus. I'll give you a job if you come over here, and I want you to experience what it's like to not live in the hood. I want you to experience what it's like to not be over there on the treetops, not be over there with the Pyru, not be over there with the rolling 60s. You got to come over here to this place where you don't know anything about and the people you don't feel familiar out. I'm going to build this shit out here in Riverside, and you got to come over here to Riverside. Mm-hmm. But he didn't do that. The best thing you can do for people in the hood is to show them what it's like to not live in the hood. I'm going to keep saying that until other people start saying it. The best thing you can do for your friends and everybody else, even people in your family, is to show them where you went and send them that damn letter like Andy Dufresne did in Shawshank Redemption, and let them know if they go look over there by that glassy rock, by that damn tree, you got a little bit of money in there to help them get over the way you at. And if they really want to do it, then they'll come over there the way you at. And that's how it's going to go. Other than that, I'm not coming to where you are, because I left where you were. If I was down in the motherfucking well and I was able to climb out, I'm not going to get back down there with you, but I will throw you a rope.
Straight up.
Damn it, man.
Straight up. Straight up. Very good. Very good.
Man. I didn't write a book.
Very good. But you know what? You can also take credit for this, because the first time I heard of this was because I heard it when you exposed this. When Steve Harvey said, you can't help broke people by being one. Mm-hmm. So to go back to that story, I guess finish what my point was with her having all of this money, and I thought it was just the weirdest thing. How there's one lady in that's always, matter of fact, no, that's not her. I was getting ready to call her out. She's always in my comment section. Like every time I go live, I'm sitting here talking about Nipsey Hussle. She talking about, well, what's wrong with her GoFundMe? I'm like, come on, man, stop caping for this woman. She ain't about to give you none of that money. But the thing is they gave me such grief about saying, let her make her money. Why are you calling her out for it and this and that? Because they don't really understand the bigger scope of things. The fact that if we continue to keep allowing black people to do what they're doing, if we know it's wrong, if we don't call them out, then how is the rest of the world going to look at that? Eventually, white people that run everything are going to get tired of us doing messed up stuff. You don't want them to take control of a problem, so why don't we step in and take control of a problem? When I'm black, I can step to this black woman and say, look, sister, what you're doing is wrong. Here's why it's wrong. because they can continue to exceed your goal if you just set a goal. And I've told people this, I don't mind people asking for a lot of money on the GoFundMe. I'm not trying to give people a hard time, but I believe that if you're going to ask for crowdfunding from the public, then I believe that you should give them a valid reason, like line item by line item. This is exactly what I need the money for. This is why I need the money. And here's the story behind it. And maybe even leave a link and attach a picture. And I also believe this, and I don't know if you're going to feel me on this or not. I believe that maybe they should chip in maybe $100 of whatever they earn and throw that money to somebody to write it out and make it look professional. Do you know how tired I am of looking at GoFundMe's with run-on sentences, mispronounced words, and incorrect grammar usage? And I'm like, man, that bugs the shit out of me. How you asking for $45,000, but this thing looks like shit?
Well, we got to treat it like a resume. If you say you want to make the one great thing we used to look at in when I was hiring. If you had a resume that didn't look like you made $100,000, you're not getting it. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. So if you put up a GoFundMe that looks like you have no idea, it's like one of them YouTubers was going around talking about give them $5,000. They about to build a studio, but they gave no idea of what they were doing or how they were going to do it. And they've shown no past initiative to show that they would even do the right thing with that kind of money. You'd be a fool to give anybody that kind of money. If they haven't shown you they can build it with their own, then why would you give them yours? Mm-hmm. But you have to remember, that's what investors do. That's what even banks, when they loan you money, they try to view what have you done with money you've had prior.
That's right.
Then I'm going to decide how much I'm going to give you. Mm-hmm. Period. So when somebody had said something about it, and my fellow Georgia Tech alum, Javaris Crittenton, played for the Lakers. This fool was still gang banging, and he was in the NBA trying to prove to niggas he real. Mm. He went out and tried to shoot at a rival gang and ended up killing a innocent bystander, and he's in jail for life.
That sounds familiar.
Javaris Crittenton, look him up.
Wow.
From Georgia Tech, was playing for the Lakers. Shot and killed somebody.
Wow, man.
How dumb can you be? How dumb can you be? And it's this idea that we as Black people have fallen so in love with the idea of thug culture that people who aren't thugs still try to purport themselves as thugs. Mm-hmm. They walk around and act like thugs. They speak like thugs. Yep. There's a problem here. There's something messed up here. And we can't sit around and not notice that even when you work your ass off to get your kids out of the hood, they then run into other Black kids in these schools and still end up sagging, even though y'all don't live in the hood. Still end up thugging, even though y'all don't live in the hood. Still end up tattoos all over their body at 16, even though you don't live in the hood. Still end up doing all of this crap, simply because we believe that Black culture is thug culture. Mm-hmm. And you cannot then get mad at the rest of the world for viewing you the way they do. Straight up. You understand that American thug culture is so pervasive that, like I just said, the shooting happened in Queensland, in Queensland, Australia. Look at what the Blacks are doing in Jamaica. Look at what the Blacks are doing down in South America. Look at what the Blacks are doing in the UK. They're all imitating us. Look at the Blacks in Nigeria. They're all imitating us, and they're imitating the horrible parts of us. Then we say, I don't know why we're being prejudged. Then we say, I don't know why the police shot at us like that. Are you serious? We literally got mad at white people for calling us savages. Now most Black people call themselves savages. Mm-hmm. Click that like button, guys. Go ahead. Click that like button. Come on over here to the Voltron Network. Me and my man Just Jay. What do you think about that?
Man, I love it. And this is another thing that I want to piggyback off of that point that you just said. When it comes to our culture and it being a bad thing, I always look at things as the results that you get from those things. It should be how you judge them. And you can correct me if I'm wrong with how I said that. But I believe that what we know as Black culture is not good because of the products that we're getting from it. The music culture is not good because it's preaching death. Death is happening. It's causing people to operate, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally on like a real jacked up vibe. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to our education, when it comes to our neighborhoods, how we treat our neighbors. I mean, it's just what we know as Black culture is not giving a positive result. And I think that that it's a good thing for us to call it out and for us to continue to speak on it, because one thing that I do like is I like the fact that people will at least listen. And that's one thing that I can admire about when people at least give you a chance and they at least hear you out and hear what you have to say. I know, because I know it's been quite a few times when people will call in and they'll actually be real enough to actually just ask you a question. And you'll explain it. Hey, Tommy, there was something I just did not understand. And you will actually open up the phone lines and you'll talk to them and you'll explain it to them. So I feel like, you know, because there are some things that I understand from my perspective, I believe it's my job to speak on, and I make my focus speaking about kids, because, you know, when I actually used to counsel kids, I felt like I got along with them really well, and I felt like the camp itself, because of the rules that we came up under, and it seemed to work generally for 90, 95%, 99% of the kids that came through there. So I said, you know what? If these kids that come from just anywhere and everywhere can come in and they're like night and day difference in 9 days, then it has to be something to this. And so I started taking those lessons and trying to preach them and call it out. And I know it can be a little bit shocking for people to hear that something they've been doing their entire life is wrong. I get that. I get the vitriol. I understand when people want to cuss you out and people want to threaten your life and all of that stuff. I don't even take it personal. I just take my weapon with me. You feel me? I don't even get mad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, but if you run up, you know what I'm saying, we might have a problem. You know, but I get it and I understand it. And I've always said this, that if I speak a message of love, then I'm willing to die for that message, because they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that holds true in a lot of cases. You know, I feel like that you have to have morals and principles, and you stand on those things, and you don't let somebody knock you off just because they don't like how your mindset is. And I don't believe in forcing anybody to think any certain way. I've always believed this. I've always believed in listening to people, being a good listener, you know, being an open ear for people. And I've learned, and I was just telling Jay McLovin, and shout out to Jay McLovin. I was just telling her this earlier. I used to be a horrible best friend to my best friends because of the fact that anytime they would come and bring a scenario to me, I'd always try to tell them what's the best thing to do. This is what you should do. And I would get mad at them. I'm just like, you know what? And you went and did it your way and you still messed up. I would get upset about that. And I figured out, I said, this person doesn't want my advice. They just want me to listen. They just want me to be a friend and listen. And I have to kick back and accept the fact that if you ask me for my advice and you still go turn around and do something to make a mistake, then fine. I've at least given you the information and you will be held accountable for what you know.
Well, here's my thing. And here's where I, not that I disagree with you, but I just wish we would preach it from this standpoint. I feel you with this idea of something I'm willing to die for. But I think with Black people, I think we need to change that. Just like I said, live in peace instead of rest in peace. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say we need to find something that we need to live for, that we want to live for. And I mean truly live, because the majority of Black people don't truly live. When you ask them about travel, when you ask them about food, when you ask them about different cultures, they don't know them. So did you truly live in this life that we have, especially when you watch these rappers and you see these rappers traveling to this place and traveling to that place and being on this beach and being in that car and being on that? Well, why don't you look at that and say, well, I want to live that on a smaller level. It doesn't take much to get in the car. Hell, I get in the car all the time, drive from this state, drive to go do that thing. It doesn't take very much money to do so. And when I was talking about going to Vegas, people was like, oh, Tommy must be balling. He up in them hotels. And I had to stop and tell them, no, man, Vegas, you can get a nice hotel, $50. They want you in Vegas, so they don't charge you that much. And especially if you go on a time in which it's not that expensive. Last time I went to Vegas, you know why I picked that time? Because nothing was going on and the hotel was like $60.
Straight up. Hey, but you know what? And that this is to also back up your point. How the hell would those people know if they don't go?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So when they see things like that, they know they exist. They watch the television, and while they're watching the television, they say what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. But you have too many people who are not willing to do it. You have too many people who are afraid of planes. I'm not getting on that plane. I understand it's scary. Hey, when I get on the plane, I sit up there and y'all see how I have to sauce myself up like I'm B.A. Baracus from the A-Team just to like the plane crash, and I'm in it. God probably be like, you was all right till you got fucked up on the plane. I gotta see you the other direction. I'm like, I needed that. It's just the wrong spirit. But listen, you sit back and you think about it. It is very difficult. I got family members who have never left the places where they are. They've never left them. But if we wanted to change the mentality of Black people, why don't we show them the joys of living? We are doing the same thing that they do when they're talking about the jihadists and things like that. They sell to them what they're going to get when they die, and they also make sure they pick people who don't have much while they're living. They know what they're doing. But you surely can't get a person who make $1 million a year to go ahead and join and do a jihadist thing. Wow. He got enough to live for. People who have something to live for don't want to die. People who don't have anything to live for don't want to live. They don't have anything. What do you think suicide is? Ask yourself. When a person commits suicide, it's because of what?
Because they feel like they don't have nothing to live for. Wow. Touche.
Don't make me write no book, man. Don't you make me write a book.
Touche. Wow. That's deep, bro. That's deep. Wow.
So if we change the Black mindset, we love death right now. Why do you think people argue with me and say, you can't be talking like that about the dead, all these t-shirts in which, look at how they making Nipsey Hussle is more known because he's dead than when he was alive. We're selling that to Black people. We're selling death.
Straight up.
And they're now buying death. They want to be on the shirt. They want to be memorialized. They want to be written on the wall. They want all of this stuff because they don't have it in real life. That brother that shot him had nothing to live for. Do you understand it? That's why he did it brazenly. Yep. Why do you think he shot him so much and kicked him? Nothing to live for. You can see it in the confusion in which when he shot him. When you shoot him, you run away, then you run back. Like he looked confused.
That was by far the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That was so weird, bro.
We have too many Black people who have nothing to live for, and the only thing that they can look forward to is death. That's why when I speak, it sounds stupid to them. That's why I don't go to funerals. I don't want to get used to death. That's why I don't go to hospitals. I don't want to get used to you being sick. That's why I don't want to go to places where I'm getting used to this and I expect this. No. Why not be around people where you're happy? I tell people all the time when I'm dating a woman, if you having a bad day, stay at your house. Don't come to mine. Don't bring me that shit. I deal with too much crap as it is. I'm an easily depressed person. I'm an easily saddened person. So I don't want to be around people who are going to trigger those things. I want to be around people who are going to trigger something different. Blacks need to understand we're around people who trigger death, disdain, sadness, separation, violence, and they trigger this. So if you know you're around people who trigger this, then you need to start hanging around people who trigger the other emotions that you have. Because as Black people, we have joy, we have pleasure, we have accomplishments. We just have to trigger those feelings. Because at the end of the day, if you can't change the people around you, then change the people you're around.
I agree with that. Very well said, brother. Like I hate to even speak when you talk like that, man, because I'm just like, I don't want to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Put the icing on that cake real nice and smooth, you know. But I do want to kind of like, because I had a couple of other points that I thought might be able to kind of generate something from. And again, I'd like to thank everybody that's even watching, because it's been a while since we did a show together. Like man, we gotta do this. We gotta do this more often. Just know that I'm always down for the conversation, bro.
At least once a week. We got to get them to help us come up with a name for it. The brother Just Jay came up with the aesthetics, what you guys see. We were trying to figure out some things. We were laying at Harris and Harris and Associates, Harris Square. But there was we don't know what to call it and what our primary balance will be or goal will be with the show. We'll figure it out, but we want to figure it out with you guys as we figure out what the the Voltron network ends up being. We want it to just keep on evolving and evolving to something to where it's for the people and by the people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This point I wanted to because I kind of wanted to talk about parenting, but I've kind of already talked about that point. And like I said, I'm not real good with doing this off the dome. So if you've ever, I mean, I know you watch my shows, but I don't know if you've ever like seen like my actual setup or whatever. I've got a crap ton of notes because you always say I'm off the dome. Like I ain't got no script, no pen, no nothing. I got all of that. I got people in the chat helping me out with things like, oh guys, what was that such and such? You know what I mean? But I know where my shortcomings are. So, and I think that's I think that's also an important thing is for us to recognize where we really are. And like I say, if you hear me say something that doesn't make sense, let me know. It's like I said, I'm used to just being on the show and just talking, but I know where my shortcomings are. And I remember having a girlfriend one time, and I told her, I said, I'm not a good person. She's like, well, why do you say that? And I'm just like, because I know where my shortcomings are. I know where I should be if I would have made some decisions different. I know I'm not where I want to be financially. I know I'm not such a great boyfriend. I know I'm not this and, not such a great father, blah, blah, blah. So I realize where I actually am because I say that if I can understand where I am, then I can understand where I can go, if that makes sense.
No, and I tell people all the time, one of the things I do, you're not going to get me to sit up and tell you how good of a father, good of a boyfriend, or good of anything that I am. My job is to constantly put myself in position to evolve and try to get as good as I can, and until I can't. I've always had 20/20 vision. I got up a couple of days ago and was looking at my phone, and I could not read a motherfucking thing on my phone. I was looking at it, I couldn't see shit. I did like this, and I could read it perfectly. I said, oh, shit, no. So now if I put the phone out here, I'm like one of the old people. And I was like, oh, man, like it feels bad because my whole life I've been able to see. And it scared me that it was blurry. Now, it could have been just I was waking up in the morning and it ended up, it cleared up. But that's just a sign that I'm getting old. That's the sign that I'm looking at all these screens all the damn time, that I'm doing all of this work sitting in front of here. It's going to take a toll. And I think anybody who does anything needs to understand it's going to take a toll. Well, let's take a look at how long we've been doing thug music and thug culture in the Black community. Don't you think about now? It's taking a toll.
I like the way you brought that back full circle.
Don't be no notes. It's just the way I speak.
Straight up. Yeah, that's dope, man.
I don't like to offend people, but I always tell them, look, this is just the way I speak. I don't mean nothing. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. It's just the way I speak, and it's the way I've always thought. So it's easy for me to speak and to think in these manners and to speak and think in these ways. And I just want people to be able to have such a grasp of logic that it's second nature. Remember, once you've done something enough, you don't need it anymore. You know how to do. You call a play, I know how to run it. When I'm out there on the field, they call a play, I know what play that is. I know where I'm supposed to be. I know where 10 yards on the field is. Even if you have no lines, I can find 10 yards on the field. I know if I've gotten the first down. I know what it feels like. Even with people in the police force, you're supposed to know the weight of your gun versus the weight of that taser. That close. A loaded gun, anybody will tell you. You should be able to pick up any gun and know it's loaded. The weight of it.
Yep.
If I remove this and take this out, it weighs less.
Yep, facts.
But if you handle it enough, these are things that will be second nature to you. We need to start handling life enough to where life is second nature.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you brought up a very interesting point. The fact that we're talking about, rap really started. Let's just say, where did the degradation of rap really start? I want to say maybe it was introduced around when gangster rap kind of started. Would that be fair to say? Yes,
rap music started to go downhill in probably like 85. Like right after its inception, you started having a few things come in. And then I think when NWA came, it was okay. But because Luke was all about degrading women, and then NWA was all about this killing. And Ice-T was all about this killing. And West Coast rap was all about this killing. Like nobody really rapped about stuff like that. Even when the New York guys had beef, it was beef
intellectual.
Shrouded. Yeah, it was beef shrouded in something. So the person you were talking to knew, The borough you was talking about knew, and they would still get into fights and stuff over it. But the people outside knew nothing about it because it was shrouded. We didn't get it. We weren't there. NWA made it to where you don't have to get it. You can hear it. Like, you remember love songs used to be, they would say words you didn't really get it when you were young because it was just sweet. And then you grew up like, oh shit, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that more like the 80s music, like the pop music.
Yeah, well, 80s was like that.
Yeah.
When we were young, it was like that. Rap was like that. And then the next thing you know, you could be 5 years old and you knew what they were talking about. Because even if you didn't know exactly what it was, they would tell you, put my penis in your motherfucking mouth and suck it. And you like, so you were 5 and you were like, oh, that's what it's for. So now you got a 5-year-old thinking that his penis is made for some little girl's mouth. So we on the playground trying to shove our penis in some little girl's mouth. Okay, maybe that was just my elementary school.
No,
but the point is,
yours. It wasn't just yours. That wasn't just yours. Not at all. Man.
So rap music became schematics for life. For black people. Do you understand this? That's how deep it was. Rap music, R&B music, our music became schematics for your life. I want y'all to let that sink in. Schematics for your life. That if your life is a good one, then you'll live it like this. If you want to be a success, you will have this. Money, cash, hoes, money, cash, hoes. We were straight up telling people there was no uncertainty. You need this. You need to be this. We're not selling families, and we could. Why the hell would Nipsey Hussle have to get married in secret? Why?
Yeah, I heard you talking about that.
He don't fuck hoes in secret.
Yeah, I heard
he don't hang out with thugs in secret. Every time we have a family, we have to do it in secret. Every time we are in love, it's a secret. The fact that you watch Country Rain and that dumb hoe and they want to sit up there and put all their dirt out for the public. Nobody pulled that dirt out. They threw the dirt out. They need the drama in the relationship. The schematics for our life is death and destruction. And we need to finally call out the thug culture, not a couple of old head motherfuckers like me, not a couple of 80-year-old hoes talking about some y'all need to keep your pussy to yourself when she didn't do it 70 years ago. No, we need the people involved in it to realize that they have something to live for.
Right.
That death isn't something they're looking forward to. They want to stave off death as long as they possibly can. Death is that damn door at the end of the Price is Right when you got somebody that's done pick. They want this one and they said, well, you know, if they got that bed suit in there and they got a couple of Pelotons, I don't want that shit. I want the next one because I know how this shit works. I've watched Price is Right enough to know that when you start giving out home shit and blenders with that first, now what do they call it at the end of it? I don't know if they still do it. It's called something where
God dang it.
Well, it's a showcase showdown thing.
Yeah,
the showcase showdown. Well, if you sitting there, if you know her new car, you know that's the best it's gonna be. So you pick that one there. When they put a car in there, that's the one you get. When it's got a bed and a couch and shit, you let it go.
Right.
So that's what we need to start doing. Death is the bed and the couch. Let it go right now. We want to see if we can get that car. Live life like you're trying to get that car. Live life like you know that there's something worth living it for. Express the love you have for the things that you love and have no problem with it. I wish I seen more rappers talking about how much they love eating at this place and that place. How much the food is, how they tried something, how good the wine is here. Think about it. When's the last time we seen some niggas just going, these thug ass niggas going wine tasting? You haven't.
And dude, I would actually watch that. It's you know what, Tommy? It's funny because they took Future and I'm sure they probably did some other people and they went to like the damn Gucci store or Louis Vuitton or something like that and went in there and spent like $35,000, swiped the card and like, yeah, man, I bought like 16 pairs of shoes and this and that. And I'm just like, damn, like, you know, but I will tell you this. just as easily as he was able to do that, I would actually, because, you know, one of the things that I love the fact that you preach is you preach, you know, being cultured, and we need to travel more. And the more you travel, you'll become more cultured. You'll see more things. You'll experience.
Be less racist.
Yeah. And
I'm promise you, black folks would be less racist and they wouldn't blame white folks for shit. And that's why I like when Charles Barkley said it, because I've said it, and I think a lot of people have said it. When you become more stable in your life financially, you become less less liberal. You become more of a conservative. You want to just be able to buy your own little farm and live your own damn life. Go out there and garden, have your own stuff. You don't believe in the idea of we need this big old massive centralized. You are the commander in chief of your own life, and you like that. That's what Michi was talking about last night. She said once she started working her own job, it didn't matter that the money that they were giving her and the food that they were giving her from welfare felt good. She didn't want it anymore. She liked being able to pay her own bills with her own work. That's what most people like. If you give blacks a taste of ownership, they don't want to go back.
And I love the fact that she said that, because I was watching that, and that's why I don't want people to get it twisted. The fact that I might say something and I heard something that maybe I did not agree with. I love the fact that she said that, because I totally understood it. It's like when you finally earn and you have it and you have a way to sustain it, you don't want to go back.
Once you live in a house, you don't want to live in an apartment. Once you drive a car, you don't want to get in the Uber. Once you do a lot of things, once you fly first class, you don't want to get in
Coach.
Back in there with the rest of the people. Once you driven a big body Benz or a Maybach, you don't want to get in the back of that Nissan Sentra. You just don't. Nothing wrong with a Sentra, but you just been riding in the Maybach. Mm-hmm. Once you dated a fine bitch, look at what the little dude who played Tattoo did. He was married to a fine bitch. She divorced him. He shot himself. You don't want to go back to that bitch you was with before you got money. I know how that shit feel. It's like you don't want to go back. You don't want to go from eating steak to ramen noodles because you remember the steak now.
Yeah.
If you can look at, thank you for Low RCS for knowing the young man's name, but you gotta understand, we need to give black people a taste of more than what they've tasted, which would then give them the drive to want more.
I agree. Very well said. Very well said. And that's why I say, and like I said, I really don't even want to add any more to that. I mean, I think that's great. Like, because I wanted to keep these kind of short and sweet. I think that's a perfect way to end it right there. And that's why I say I think that the words, this is why I've been standing behind you, since day one. It's like I said, I mean, what you're saying needs to be heard, because if you know, and I've always told you this, and I think I've told you this in person too, is I don't know if you see the change. I do. I see the change based on your words. I see these sisters out here. I've even gotten to the point to where I'm seeing other sisters that are actually starting to give other sisters praise for wearing their natural hair. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Like, I always try to compliment them and stuff like that. The positive reinforcement when you see people are doing the right things, and they absolutely need to see and hear something that they haven't heard and seen before. And you see that people are quick to be defensive and all of that kind of stuff. But I think over time, as people have time to, if people always say this, if people listen with an open mind and an open heart, I think that they will gain more of an understanding about where we're coming from. It won't be so misunderstood, and it won't be so shocking, especially if you have the evidence in front of you and if you're able to live through that change and be able to do something different and see how it benefits your life and benefits your kids.
Nice. I think that's a wonderful way to end it. I like the fact that you keep it timed because it looks like we went about an hour, because we were about 20 minutes late or 10 minutes late or something like that. So we probably went about an hour, close to an hour. It says we were going to be going for 100 minutes. Mm-hmm. That would put us about an hour. Yeah, we've been about an hour.
Yeah. Because
we were fucking about at the beginning. I don't know why I've been saying that lately, fucking about.
I've never heard that before.
I think I've said it for like the past week, fucking about. Is this like an English thing, or did I just make it up?
I think you made that up.
If it is any people out there from the UK, tell me if I bit that from one of you guys, or is that just I made this up?
Uh-oh.
Because when I said it this time, I was like, wait a minute, I've said that a lot this week. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm just starting to cuss for no reason. I apologize. Okay, I thought so. They said it. I thought so. They said it's London slang. I thought so.
Oh, I can't even see the other. I forgot you got that
somewhere.
other chat running. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. They're over there, but it's a London thing.
Yeah,
I like it though.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before.
I keep using it. I'm stealing from them. I'd steal anything that sound good. If it's since it's a British thing, but yeah, like you fucking about. I like that.
Okay, that's
gonna be my thing. That's gonna be my new thing. Stop fucking about.
But yeah, man, I'll tell you this though. Like, I was just amazed the fact, and I appreciate you guys being patient. And Tommy, I appreciate your patience with not getting frustrated with me. I was like, I hope that just resetting the computer will fix it, and it fixed some of it. And I think that it might be blurry just because, like I say, you're streaming in two places. That might have something to do with it. But if we can get to a point to where I can get that to clear up just a little bit. I just literally just had this thought in my head, and I said, let me see how I can figure out how to make this happen, because I literally had no idea how I was going to, because I noticed people were saying, at least on this side in this chat, that that they like the setup, which I'm happy that they like it. So
no, it's a beautiful setup. I really enjoyed it. I think what is happening is probably just you're broadcasting my broadcast, and so I'm blurry because your system is having to work double hard because you would happen to have two things open in order to be able to broadcast it. Because mine isn't working because I'm using my desk. I'm using a desktop, not a laptop, and it's plugged directly into the system. So I have my power here, and it's relatively strong. It's not as strong as when I'm downstairs, but it's still strong enough to be able to pull two. That's why I was saying if you ever wanted to do it, I could flip it over and do whatever you were doing from my end, and then we could broadcast it from there, and it would be a stronger signal because then all I would need is your video.
Okay, fair enough.
Like this, so, but you'd have to show me how to do whatever it is you're doing, or we'll just get you a faster processor. If you got a faster processor, that's all it is. When you have these many windows open, it's just your broadcast.
I got you. Well, we got close.
I like it. I think it's a beautiful setup.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, man, I was able to kind of figure it out, so, playing with, Photoshop CS6, you kind of learn things over time, and I was able to kind of at least figure out something different. So, maybe this will kind of give us something to build on. And I'm really, really, and again, to everybody that's listening right now, please, again, if that button down there is red and it says subscribe, please think about making it white and subscribing to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you won't have to wonder when we're live, and you don't have to rely on an email, because I notice people are starting to block my email. They get tired of me sending them emails. But I'm trying my best to try to just make sure and let the core people know when we're actually be live, and try to notify you manually, because I know sometimes, and I know Tommy knows this more than anybody, that the notifications do not always go out. But a simple thing that you guys can do not only is to make sure you subscribe, but to make sure that you guys refresh your subscriptions from time to time. You never know when we'll be live, and you could always watch it on the replay. You could always share with somebody, and you'd be surprised how quickly this thing can grow if people would just continue to just keep spreading the good news and the good word. And I hope that they were entertained, and I hope that everybody learned something. Hope that everybody felt something. So yeah.
And when we build the website, the Voltron Network website, that will be awesome. And once it gets built. And again, I'm putting out a call to all people out there who build websites. So we're going to have a notification. It's going to be, you're going to see all the personalities and what time their shows are going to go live. So you'll always be able to go to one centralized place and see whenever people go live. And we're going to try to make it to where so-and-so who goes live on Tuesday at 8 goes live on Tuesday at 8. So-and-so who goes live on so-and-so or whatever group, we're going to have it to where these things are consistent. So whatever you like or want to see or want to hear more, you'll be able to go there, check out your favorite personalities, find them on Instagram, find them on Twitter, click their donate if you'd like, or whatever it is that you want to do, and go back to their regular normal channels as well and subscribe to their normal channels. So if your favorite guy comes on at 11 on Saturday, well, they broadcast all throughout the week and everything else on their own channel. So you'll be able to find their information that way too. So it's a growth situation.
All right, sounds good, man. I think that's a perfect note to end on. And Tommy, again, I want to thank you for your time. I know that you've been busy all day, and I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I'll try to do like one story a day, and then I'll watch you do 3 and 4 and 5, and I'm just like, how does he do this? Like, I say that to say much respect, bro. And when you talk about you be working, I'm telling you guys, it's work. It's a lot of it, and I respect you for that, brother. I'm looking forward to continue to keep building with you. Also, you guys, make sure and check out his website. Make sure that you guys purchase the Anti-PC Tour tickets, please. Pre-sale tickets are available on his website, or by way of his website, I should say.
Yes. Or if you want to go straight to Eventbrite, you can, and you put my name in there, and it should come up.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, I want to end it just like that. I want to end it how I normally end my shows. So I'm gonna play some music.
Let's do it. I need to hear some music. And then I'm gonna go take me a shower and get my stinking ass in the bed.
All right, man. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. Shout out to my brother Kurt Dog. This is the remix. He had somebody do this remix for him. Some of you guys have heard this. If not, this might be your first time. Shout out to my brother Kurt Dog. This is the You remix.
Peace button up. Throwback.
Special dedication.
Oh no, not keep up.
Yeah. And this one's about you. Yeah, cause I ain't never been up on no sucker shit. You wanna know the type of niggas I ain't fucking with? Well, I ain't fucking with you. Yeah, so when you see me, nigga, better walk it out. Let me tell you about the niggas that I'm talking about. Nigga, I'm talking about you ain't never been 100, never kept it real. So I don't give a motherfuck how a nigga feel. Take it or leave it, but I'ma keep it moving though. And you ain't gotta ask when we get into it for. Cause real niggas recognize real shit. And fake shit is something I can't deal with. That ain't the way a nigga move when he operate. And I'm a boss, so I'm cool with a lot of hate. Facts. But not when it's coming from my end. He claiming to be a friend, but fake niggas pretend. And I ain't willing to bend, cause I ain't ready to fold. And I ain't playing no games, my nigga, I'm too old. I'm too cold with this shit to even get heated. And how you treat me is how your ass get treated. So when you see me and you holler what it do, and I don't say shit back, then that means I ain't fucking with you. Yeah, cause I ain't never been up on no sucker shit. You wanna know the type of niggas I ain't fucking with? Well, I ain't fucking with you. Yeah, so when you see me, nigga, better walk it out. Let me tell you about the niggas that I'm talking about. Nigga, I'm talking about you. You little hoes be up on the same thing. Bopping in the club, peeping how my chain hang. Trying to see when I'ma leave, who I'm going with. Where my truck parked at, who I'm rolling with. Bitch, slow your fucking roll, you looking like 18. And baby, I'm too old. And plus I got me a wife, I know you done been told. And I'm loving my life, and I ain't tricking on hoes. No hoes. Them girls never get it, they don't never learn. Them hoes too hot, I'ma let them burn. I got it pretty good, what I look like. Tricking off my whole life over one night. My mama didn't raise no fool, and you coming on strong, but baby girl, I'm cool. And I ain't got a need for another chick. So I mean it when I tell you I ain't fucking with you. Cause I ain't never been up on no sucker shit. You wanna know them type of niggas I ain't fucking with? Well, I ain't fucking with you. Yeah, so when you see me, nigga, better walk it out. Let me tell you about the niggas that I'm talking about. Nigga, I'm talking about you. Yeah, cause I ain't never been up on no sucker shit. You wanna know them type of niggas I ain't fucking with? Well, I ain't fucking with you. Yeah, so when you see me, nigga, better walk it out. Let me tell you about the niggas that I'm talking about. Nigga, I'm talking about you. Know them type of niggas I ain't fucking with. Well, I ain't fucking with you. I ain't fucking with them niggas like y'all though.
We're signing off. You guys have a great night. Peace.
Peace out, people.